The wedding that wasn't hers. The beeping started slow. Then it spiked. Aravi froze. She had been sitting on the edge of the hospital bed, staring at the man she had just married, Vihan Malhotra. Her veil was still on, light pink and gold, slightly askew from the rushed ceremony. The vermilion in her hairline was still fresh. The Mangal Sutra sat heavily around her neck. But nothing felt real. This wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to move. He wasn't supposed to wake up. But there it was again, beep, 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 beep. Her heart jumped with every sound the monitor made. She looked down. His hand had moved, just slightly, barely a twitch, but then his eyelids flickered. "Doctor!" she cried out, voice trembling. "Doctor, he's moving!" The nurse rushed in first, then a doctor, then two more. Aravi stumbled backward as the room filled with people. She stood there, frozen, watching, holding her breath until she heard the thing she feared most. His voice, a dry rasp, a whisper, broken, but clear enough. "Where's Meher?" Her stomach twisted. Her heart felt like it stopped because she wasn't Meher. She was Aravi, Meher's younger sister, and 3 hours ago, she had married Vihan in Meher's place, 3 hours earlier. "You'll wear the dress," her mother said coldly, holding out the heavy bridal lehenga. "You'll go to the mandap. You'll say the vows." Aravi looked at her like she'd lost her mind. "Mom, I can't marry him. He's unconscious, and he's not even my fiancé. He's Meher's." Her mother's voice shook, but her grip on the dress didn't loosen. She ran. "Aravi, your sister ran away, disappeared like a coward. There are people outside, guests, media. Do you want our family name dragged through the dirt?" "She ran away for a reason," Aravi shot back. "Doesn't that matter to you?" "It matters," her father said, entering the room with sunken eyes. "But this is bigger than you or Meher or even Vihan. If this wedding doesn't happen today, everything collapses. We lose the deal, the money, the reputation. His family doesn't even know he's in a coma," Aravi shouted. "They're abroad. His lawyer arranged everything. They think this wedding is still happening. You want me to go through with it just to save face?" "Yes," her mother said simply. Aravi felt like screaming. Instead, she looked at her younger brother, standing silently in the corner. Just 17. Too young to understand, yet old enough to be crushed by what was happening. She thought of their home, already under mortgage, their family business, one bad deal away from collapse. She had always been the quiet one, the obedient daughter, the one who kept the family together when her sister started breaking the rules. Now they were asking her to make the ultimate sacrifice. Just sign the papers, her mother said. "It's not real. Vihan won't even know. Just sit at his side, smile for the priest, and let the rituals be done. No one needs to know." Aravi stared at the dress. It was Meher's. She hadn't even tried it on. "I'm not Meher," she whispered. "No," her mother said, "but today you'll pretend to be." The ceremony was quiet. Strange. There was no groom standing by her side, just a priest murmuring mantras at the head of Vihan's hospital bed. The air smelled like antiseptic and incense. The only fire burning was a small copper urn beside his monitors. Aravi sat with folded hands, trying not to cry. She watched, herself slip into the role of someone else. Her name wasn't even on the papers. Vihan's lawyer had pre-filled Meher's. The nurse acting as witness looked uncomfortable, but no one stopped it. By the time it was over, she had been declared his wife. "Congratulations," the priest said awkwardly. Aravi just nodded, her throat dry. Then they left her alone with him, with Vihan, her new husband, still unconscious, still breathing through machines. She looked at him, strong jawline, peaceful face, handsome even in sleep. She'd seen him just a few times before, polite, reserved, her sister's trophy, and now he belonged to her, except he didn't. Not really. Now, his. "Vitals are improving," the doctor said, checking the monitor. "We might need to inform his family abroad. This is highly unexpected." Aravi stepped away from the wall, her voice barely a whisper. "Is he awake?" "Not fully, but he spoke. That's a sign. His coma is lifting." The nurse nodded. "It might take a few days, but he's coming back. To what? To lies? To confusion? To a wife he never chose?" Aravi's head spun. She stepped out of the room, unable to breathe. In the hallway, she pulled her phone out and dialed. It went straight to voicemail. "Meher," she whispered into the phone, tears filling her eyes. "Where are you? You can't. Just disappear and leave me to deal with this. He's waking up." She ended the call. No reply, no texts, no explanations, no notes. Her older sister had vanished like a ghost and left her behind to clean the mess. That night, Aravi sat beside Vihan's bed again. The hospital lights dimmed. Everything felt too quiet. He hadn't moved again, but the beeping was steady, comforting in a strange way. She watched him breathe, studied his face. What would he say when he found out? Would he scream, accuse her, sue her, or worse, remember nothing? She didn't even know what she hoped for. "I didn't want this," she whispered aloud. "I didn't even want to be part of your life. But now I'm your wife on paper, and the world thinks we're married." She let the words sit in the air. "I don't know why my sister ran," she added, "but I think she knew something none of us did." Vihan didn't answer, but something flickered in his fingers again. Was it a coincidence? Or was he listening? Aravi leaned closer, gently touching his hand. It was warm, real. Suddenly the door creaked. A nurse stepped in, holding a tablet. "Sorry to disturb. I need your signature here, Mrs. Malhotra." The title hit her like a slap. Mrs. Malhotra. That wasn't her. That was Meher. That was the girl who disappeared. But she signed anyway. Her name, her lie, flashback, a week ago, Vihan, had collapsed in the middle of a dinner with Meher. A brain hemorrhage. No warning, no previous signs. He had just stood up, smiled, and then hit the floor. Meher had called their parents, called Aravi, called everyone, and then disappeared 2 days later. No phone, no trace, nothing. The police were called, but the family kept it quiet. Didn't want the press to know the bride had gone missing before the wedding. They called it a private matter. Vihan's lawyer, Mr. Sinha, had continued with the preparations. He wanted to marry Meher, he'd said. His wishes should be honored. The paperwork is ready. His power of attorney approved it. The wedding can go ahead. And then the pressure had started on Aravi to fix everything, to be the silent replacement. Now here she was, that night, as she sat by his bed again. Aravi spoke to him softly. "I don't know you," she said, "and you don't know me, but we're married now, on paper at least." She bit her lip. "I didn't do this to trick you. I did it because I had no choice." Her voice trembled. "I'll fix this, somehow. I'll tell you everything. Just don't wake up angry, please." Then she leaned back, closed her eyes, and for a moment forgot where she was, until she felt a squeeze. Her eyes flew open. Vihan's fingers, they were wrapped around hers. Not weak, not random, intentional. She gasped. His lips parted, and this time, his eyes fully opened, he stared at her, confused, lost, but awake, and then he said clearer this time, "You're not Meher." The truth that could destroy everything. Vihan's eyes locked onto Aravi's, searching, confused but intense. "You're not Meher," he said again, voice hoarse but steady. Aravi swallowed hard. Her heart hammered against her ribs. This moment, she had dreaded it for hours, days, but now it was here, undeniable. "No," she whispered, "I'm Aravi, your wife, but not Meher." Vihan's brow furrowed deeply. Then, "Why are you here? Why are you wearing her dress? Why am I married to you?" Aravi blinked back tears. "Because your fiancé, my sister, ran away. She left everything behind. I had no choice." He looked at her, the hospital room spinning in his eyes. "Why? Why would she do that? Aravi didn't have answers. She wished she did. Maybe because she knew something, Aravi said softly, voice trembling. Something none of us saw coming. Vihan tried to sit up, but the doctors gently pressed him back down. Take it easy, one said. Your body needs rest. But Vihan's gaze never left Aravi. Tell me everything, he whispered. I want to know what happened. The story poured out of Aravi like a dam breaking. She told him about the sudden collapse, the coma, the empty hospital room after Meher vanished. She told him about their parents' desperate plan to keep the wedding alive, the family's debts, the pressure from Vihan's powerful family abroad, the threat of losing everything. She told him how she had been forced to wear Meher's wedding dress and say vows she never wanted to say. Vihan listened silently, his eyes darkening with every word. Hours later, the doctor stepped in. Vihan, your recovery is remarkable, but your brain trauma means memory loss. You might not remember everything clearly. Vihan nodded slowly. Aravi's heart twisted. If he forgot, would she lose him all over again? But Vihan was determined. He squeezed her hand. Thank you for telling me, he said. I don't understand it all yet, but I trust you. Aravi's breath caught. This was not what she expected. She had feared anger, rage, or worse, rejection. But here was a man who had just woken from death's door, already giving her trust. That night, the hospital room was quiet except for the rhythmic beeping of the machines. Aravi sat beside Vihan, watching him sleep. She thought about Meher. Where was her sister? Why had she run? And what secrets was she hiding? The next morning, Aravi's phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Stop pretending. The truth will come out, and it will destroy you. Her hands trembled. Who was threatening her? What truth? She looked at Vihan, who was awake now, looking at the message over her shoulder. Who sent this? He asked. Aravi shook her head. I don't know. Vihan frowned. We need to find out. Someone wants to stop us. Days passed. Vihan's health improved, but the tension around them thickened. Strangers watched the hospital room. Reporters sniffed around the edges. Aravi felt trapped. Everywhere she turned, eyes seemed to follow her. One afternoon, a man in a sharp suit appeared at the hospital door. I'm Raghav, he said, flashing a badge. Private investigator, hired by the Malhotra family. Aravi's heart skipped. Vihan looked wary. What do you want? Vihan asked. Raghav smiled thinly. To find out where Meher went, and why she disappeared before the wedding. Aravi's breath hitched. Why are you involving yourself? You should be working for Vihan. I am, Raghav said, but the family wants the truth, and it's more complicated than you think. Over the next few days, Raghav's investigation uncovered secrets buried deep. Meher had been seen arguing with a stranger days before the collapse. Strange phone calls at odd hours, a secret bank account. Aravi realized the situation was more dangerous than she imagined. Not just a broken engagement, not just a forced marriage, but something darker. One evening, Aravi was followed home. She noticed a black car slowing behind her. Her pulse raced. She ducked into a side street. The car sped past. When she got inside, she found a note slipped under her door. Stop digging, or you'll regret it. Aravi felt the weight of the threat settle like a stone in her chest. She looked at Vihan, who was now awake and recovering. We need to be careful, she said. But Vihan looked determined. I want to find Meher. I want to know the truth. No matter what, the stakes were rising, and neither Aravi nor Vihan knew who to trust. That night, Aravi sat alone in the dark. Her phone buzzed again. A new message. The sister you married is hiding more than you think. Aravi's hands trembled as she stared at the screen. Who was watching her? What was the truth? And was she ready to face it? Shadows from the past. The cold light from the hospital window stretched across the room as Vihan rested quietly. His eyes, though still tired, held a sharper focus now. Aravi sat beside him, clutching her phone tightly. The latest message was still glowing on the screen. The sister you married is hiding more than you think. Her mind raced, tangled with fear and confusion. What did it mean? What could Meher possibly be hiding? The question that haunted her. Aravi had never imagined she'd be in this position, forced to marry a man she barely knew, pretending to be her sister. And now, the warnings, the threats. It felt like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. She looked over at Vihan. His gaze met, hers steady but concerned. "What do you think she's hiding?" he asked softly. "I don't know," Aravi admitted, "but I have a feeling it's serious, something dangerous." Vihan took a slow breath, his fingers tightening around hers. "We need to find out. Together." A visit from the past. Just as they began to plan their next steps, a knock came at the door. The hospital room filled with tension. Raghav, the private investigator, stepped inside, holding a thick envelope. "I have new information," he said, eyes grave. "About Meher." Aravi and Vihan exchanged looks. "Go on," Vihan urged. Raghav opened the envelope and pulled out photos, documents, and phone records. The hidden life. "Meher wasn't just your ordinary bride-to-be," Raghav explained. "She was involved in something big, secret meetings, encrypted messages, and large withdrawals from her account." Aravi felt her heart sink. "Why would she hide this from us? From the family?" "Because she was scared," Raghav said. "Someone was after her, and it might be connected to your fiancé's collapse." Vihan's face paled. "Someone tried to kill me," he whispered. "Possibly," Raghav nodded. "Your collapse wasn't an accident. The stranger among the photos was one that caught Aravi's eye. Meher arguing heatedly with a man in a dark jacket, face partly hidden by shadows. "Who is he?" she asked. "We don't know yet," Raghav replied. "But he's connected to a dangerous group, illegal dealings, money laundering. Meher might have stumbled onto their secrets." Vihan's jaw clenched. "If that's true, then she ran to protect us, or herself." A dangerous game. The pieces started falling into place. Meher's disappearance, the threats to Aravi, Vihan's sudden collapse. They were all tangled in a web of lies and danger. Aravi's phone buzzed again. A new message appeared. "Stop digging, or Meher's fate will be yours." A plan to protect Vihan looked at Aravi with fierce determination. "We can't let this control us. We have to find Meher," Aravi said. "We have to get to the truth before it's too late." Raghav nodded. "I'll keep digging, but you two need to be careful." The night visitor that night, Aravi heard a soft knock on her apartment door. Her heart pounded. She opened it to find a young woman soaked from the rain, eyes wide and desperate. "Please," the woman whispered, "I have information about Meher, but it's not safe here." A secret ally. The woman introduced herself as Shah, a former employee of Meher's. She revealed that Meher had confided in her about the threat she was facing. "Meher was scared for her life," Shah said. "She told me she planned to leave everything behind to protect her family." Aravi's eyes filled with tears. "She loved us, even if she didn't show it." The revelation seer handed Aravi a small USB drive. "This has all the evidence, conversations, names, locations. You need to see it." Vihan plugged the drive into his laptop, and they spent the night going through files. What they found shook them to the core. Betrayal. Close to home, among the messages were names Aravi recognized. Trusted family friends and business associates. They were involved in the illegal dealings, people they had believed loyal. The enemy within Vihan stared at the screen in disbelief. "We've been betrayed," he said quietly. Aravi nodded, tears streaming down her face. "How? Do we fight back?" A dangerous choice. They knew exposing the truth could destroy their family's reputation, but hiding it would put their lives at risk. The decision together, Aravi and Vihan decided to go public with the evidence. They would fight for Meher, for the truth, A new threat emerges. Before they could act, their apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but a warning note was left. Stay quiet or disappear like Meher. Secrets unveiled, danger closer. The warning note was stark, cold, menacing. Stay quiet or disappear like Meher. Aravi's hands trembled as she held the paper. Vihan's jaw tightened, eyes burning with fury and fear. Their home, once a safe haven, now felt like a cage closing in around them, the weight of the threat. "How did they find us?" Aravi whispered, voice shaking. Vihan paced the room, restless. "They're watching us closely. We have to move fast." Raghav's words echoed in their minds. "The enemy is closer than you think." A plan to outsmart. They couldn't back down now. Together they plotted their next steps carefully. First, secure the evidence. Vihan called a trusted friend abroad, arranging a secure server to upload all files from the USB. Aravi packed a bag. Quietly, her mind racing with fear and hope, the escape that night under the cover of darkness, they slipped out of their apartment. Their destination was a safe house provided by Raghav's contacts, a place far from prying eyes. A new beginning. The safe house was small and plain, but for Aravi it felt like a fortress. Vihan collapsed into a chair, exhausted but alert. "We have to expose the truth, no matter what." Aravi nodded, determination flaring in her chest. Digging deeper with the USB files secure, Raghav uncovered more layers of deception. Meher's fear wasn't just about the illegal deals. There was something personal, something tied to their family. The family secret. Aravi and Vihan sat together as Raghav explained. "Years ago, your father made a deal with a powerful business rival. It went wrong, and the rival's family wants revenge." Vihan's eyes widened. "Could this be why Meher disappeared?" "Exactly," Raghav said. "She found out about the threat and tried to protect you." The shock. Aravi felt her world tilt. Her sister, who she thought was selfish and weak, was actually brave. She had sacrificed everything to keep her family safe. The leak. Despite their precautions, news began to leak. Rumors spread in the media. Fiancé disappears. Family secrets unravel. Vihan's powerful relatives denied everything, but the cracks were showing. A betrayal. Revealed one evening, Raghav came with a new bombshell. "Someone from inside your family is feeding information to the rival." Aravi gasped. "Who?" Raghav shook his head. "We don't know yet, but they're close, very close." Trust shattered, suspicion poisoned the safe house atmosphere. Vihan looked at Aravi with doubt for the first time. "Do you think it could be you?" Aravi's eyes burned with tears. "No, but I don't know who else to trust." A silent phone call. Suddenly Vihan's phone buzzed, an unknown number. He answered cautiously. A cold voice whispered, "Stop digging, or Meher's fate will be yours." The threat grows. The line went dead. Vihan's hand shook as he hung up. "We're in deeper than ever." A secret meeting. Determined to find the traitor, Vihan arranged a secret meeting with his closest family members. In a dimly lit room, faces, familiar yet cold, stared back at him. The confession, one by one, they denied involvement, until his uncle spoke quietly. "I warned you to stop this, Vihan. But you wouldn't listen." Vihan's voice cracked. "Why? Who are you working for?" The uncle's eyes glinted darkly. "Sometimes family isn't just blood. It's power." The fallout. Vihan's world shattered, betrayed by blood. Aravi's strength. Seeing Vihan break only strengthened Aravi's resolve. She took his hand. "We'll fight together." The public reveal. With heavy hearts, they decided to go public. A press conference was arranged. Facing the world under bright lights and flashing cameras, Vihan and Aravi told their story. Meher's sacrifice, the family's betrayal, the dangerous secrets. A shocking twist just as the conference ended. A masked figure stepped forward, throwing a file onto the stage. It contained proof, names, transactions, even a recording of the rival's threats. Chaos reporters swarmed. The masked figure vanished into the crowd. Vihan and Aravi were left standing. Stunned but empowered, the road ahead, the battle was far from over, but for the first time the truth was out, and with it, hope. The mask falls away. The press conference was chaos. Cameras flashed wildly, reporters shouted questions, and the air buzzed with shock and disbelief. Yet amidst the uproar, Aravi and Vihan stood firm, their shared strength a silent promise. But beneath that moment of victory, new dangers lurked, waiting to strike. Aftermath of the reveal back at the safe house, the air felt thick with tension. "Who was that masked person?" Aravi demanded. Raghav shook his head. "We have no clue yet. But whoever it is, they're helping us. For now." Vihan paced, voice grim. "We just opened a hornet's nest. The rival family won't let this go easily." A new ally. The next day, a mysterious email arrived in Aravi's inbox. It contained a video message. Grainy, but clear enough. A woman appeared on screen, face partially shadowed. "My name is Anaya," she said quietly. "I was close to Meher. I know the truth about the rival family, and the real reason your fiancé was attacked." The deeper plot. Anaya explained that the rival family's motives went beyond business revenge. They wanted to destroy Vihan's entire lineage, erase their influence. "They've infiltrated every level, police, media, even your family," Anaya warned. Aravi swallowed hard. "How can we fight something so big?" Anaya smiled faintly. "By exposing every lie, and by trusting no one." Betrayal confirmed. Vihan's uncle was arrested days later after evidence surfaced tying him to the rival family's plans. The betrayal cut deep. "How could family turn so cold?" Aravi whispered. Vihan's answer was a grim nod. "Power corrupts." Meher's secret journal. Raghav delivered another surprise, a journal Meher had kept hidden. Aravi flipped through the pages, her heart aching with every word. Meher's fears, hopes, and love poured out in ink. A letter to Araviat. The journal's end was a letter addressed to Aravi. "If you're reading this, it means I couldn't protect you, but I believe in your strength. Fight for the truth. Fight for us." Strength in unity. The revelation changed everything. Aravi and Vihan's bond deepened. No longer just forced marriage, but true partnership. Together, they vowed to finish what Meher had started. A dangerous encounter one evening. Aravi was followed home. A shadowy figure grabbed her wrist. "Stop now, or you'll regret it." She broke free and ran, heart pounding. The cost of courage, fear threatened to consume her, but she refused to give in. Vihan held her close that night. "We'll face this together," he promised. The rivals counterattack in retaliation. The rival family leaked false stories, trying to ruin their reputations. But Aravi and Vihan stood tall, exposing every lie. A close call. Raghav narrowly escaped an attack meant to silence him. The danger was real, and closing in, a glimmer of hope amidst darkness. Anaya revealed a critical lead, a hidden account holding evidence that could end the rival family's reign. The risky plan to access it, Aravi and Vihan would have to infiltrate the rival's stronghold, a fortress of secrets. Prepared for battle, they trained, planned, and steeled themselves. It was more than survival, it was justice. A final warning before the mission, a chilling message arrived. Leave now or lose everything. The leap of faith. With hearts pounding, Aravi and Vihan stepped into the unknown. Their fight had only just begun, into the enemy's den. The night was heavy with tension as Aravi and Vihan stood before the towering gates of the rival families. And compound, cold steel, dark walls, and ominous silence greeted them. The air smelled of danger, a danger that was now their reality. Steeling themselves. "This is it," Vihan said quietly, gripping Aravi's hand. "We're not just fighting. For us anymore, Aravi replied, swallowing her fear. We're fighting for Meher, for truth. They exchanged a look, a silent pact, and slipped through a hidden side entrance Raghav had discovered. Into the shadows, the compound was a maze of corridors, surveillance cameras, and guards. Every step they took felt like walking on a knife's edge, Vihan whispered. Stay close, stay quiet. The vault, after what felt like hours, they reached a reinforced door, the vault where the hidden account's evidence was kept. Raghav had hacked the security codes remotely, guiding them through earpieces. A sudden alarm just as they reached the vault. A sharp beep echoed. Security breach detected, a robotic voice announced. They froze. Panic surged. Court guards flooded the corridors, shouting orders. Aravi's heart pounded. Vihan pulled her behind a pillar. We have to fight. The fight. Their adrenaline surged as they took down the first guard silently, but more arrived. The fight turned desperate. An unexpected ally. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure appeared. Anaya. She fired a tranquilizer dart, knocking out a guard before joining their fight. The vault opens together. They reach the vault. Vihan punched in the last code. The heavy door hissed open, revealing rows of servers and documents. Downloading the evidence, as the data downloaded, Aravi browsed. The files, names, transactions, plans, everything needed to bring down the rival family. The escape, with the download complete, alarms blared again. They raced through corridors chased by guards. A narrow escape. Just as a guard lunged, Vihan tackled him. Aravi ran outside. Breathless, they found a waiting car. Raghav at the wheel, safe for now. The engine roared to life as they sped away. Vihan looked at Aravi. We did it. We have the proof. Back at the safe house, they pored over the files, building their case. The rival family's empire was crumbling. The enemy strikes back, but the rival family wasn't finished. Their safe house was attacked, forcing them to flee. Again, growing closer through danger, Aravi and Vihan's bond deepened, no longer strangers forced together, partners fighting side by side. A shocking discovery in the files. Aravi found a name she never expected, her own mother. The betrayal runs. Deep, her mother was linked to the rival family's plans. Heartbreak. Aravi's world shattered again. Could she trust anyone? Vihan's support. Vihan held her close. We'll face this together, no matter what. Preparing for the final battle, with new evidence, they planned to confront their enemies head-on. Blood ties and broken trust. The revelation shook Aravi to her core. Her mother's name, buried deep in the files from the rival family's account, glared back at her in cold black and white. How could the woman who raised her, who told her to be strong, be part of the darkness threatening to destroy them all? Confrontation with her mother. Aravi sat across from her mother in the dimly lit living room, silence heavy between them. Her voice trembled. Why? How could you? Her mother's eyes, once warm, now looked distant. I did what I had to do, for the family, she said softly. The family's hidden web. Aravi realized that betrayal ran deeper than she imagined. Her mother was caught between loyalty and fear, trapped in the rival family's web. Vishan's anguish. Vishan watched quietly, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. How many lies have we lived? He asked quietly. Aravi's decision. She wiped her tears and stood. This ends now, no more secrets. A plan to expose, together with Vihan and Raghav, Aravi crafted a plan to expose her mother's role and the entire conspiracy. The public. Trial, the evidence was overwhelming. The media storm was relentless. Aravi faced her mother one last time. As the truth tore through their family, the rift deepens. Her mother was arrested, but the pain lingered. Aravi's trust was broken, but her spirit was unbroken. Vihan's confession. One night, Vihan shared a secret of his own, a memory he had hidden from everyone. The past revealed before his accident, Vihan had discovered The rival family's plan, but kept it secret to protect Aravi. A new resolve, their shared pain brought them closer than ever. Together they vowed to rebuild from the ashes. A mysterious message. Just when things seemed to calm, a message arrived. Meet me if you want the truth. The unknown. Messenger Aravi hesitated but decided to go. A dangerous meeting. In a deserted warehouse, a cloaked figure waited. The shocking truth. The figure revealed they were Meher's closest friend and had been watching over Aravi all along. The final piece. They handed Aravi a key to a safe deposit box, holding the final proof needed to bring the rival family down for good. Hope in the darkness. Aravi felt hope stir once more. The end was near, but the battle was far from over. The final key. The night was cold, the kind of cold that seeps deep into your bones. Aravi held the small, heavy key tightly in her palm, the weight of it heavier than metal. It carried the hope, the danger, and the truth she needed to finally end this nightmare. A secret safe deposit box. The address led them to an old, forgotten bank vault in the city outskirts. Dim lights flickered as Aravi and Vihan entered, hearts racing with anticipation and dread. Unlocking the pastors, the safe deposit box creaked open. Inside lay a stack of folders, USB drives, and a worn leather-bound diary, Meher's personal journal, never seen by anyone but her closest confidants. Reading Meher's words, the diary revealed Meher's fears, the threats she'd faced, and most importantly, the identities of those who betrayed them all. People in the shadows, Aravi. Never suspected, a hidden betrayal. One name stood out. Raghav. Aravi's heart dropped. Could the man who'd helped them be a traitor too? Confronting Raghav, the tension was unbearable as Aravi and Vihan confronted Raghav. His calm demeanor cracked, revealing a man torn between loyalty and greed. The double agent Raghav confessed. He'd been working for the rival family, feeding them information to protect his own family, caught in a web of lies and fear, betrayed again. The sting of betrayal cut deep, but Aravi knew they had to move forward. Using Raghav's knowledge, despite everything, Raghav offered crucial intel. The rival family was planning their final strike, targeting Aravi directly. Preparing for the last battle, they prepared, gathering allies, setting traps and readying for a showdown that would decide everything. The rivals' close. In the night before the attack, Aravi lay awake, haunted by memories of Meher, her sister, and all they'd lost. A moment of doubt. Could she truly win? Was justice possible when betrayal came from every side? Vihan's reassurance, Vihan's steady voice broke through her fear. We're stronger than they think. Together we survive. The final showdown. The rival family descended on their safe house at dawn, armed, ruthless, and ready to end the war. Fight for truth. Gunfire erupted. Chaos reigned. Aravi fought with everything she had. Not just for survival, but for truth, love, and justice. Victory and loss in the end. The rivals were defeated, but not without cost. Vihan was injured, and Aravi's strength was nearly spent. The truth exposed, with the evidence from Meher's diary and the files, the authorities arrested the remaining conspirators. Healing wounds as Vihan recovered, Aravi found strength in forgiveness, for Raghav, for her mother, for herself, a new beginning. They stood together, ready to rebuild their lives, free from secrets and lies. The truth that sets us free. The morning sun spilled golden light across the quiet garden where Aravi sat, her fingers trembling slightly as she held the last letter Meher had written. A letter meant for her, to be read only when the storm had passed. It was finally over, the calm, after the storm months had passed, since the final battle that shattered the rival family's grip on their lives. The courts had spoken, and justice had been served, yet the scars, both visible and invisible, remained. Aravi looked over at Vihan, who was slowly regaining his strength after the injuries sustained during their fight for truth. His presence was steady, a balm to her restless heart, the weight of forgiveness. "Do you regret it?" Aravi asked softly, eyes searching his. "Regret?" Vihan echoed. "Regret letting the truth come out, or regret trusting you despite everything?" Aravi smiled faintly. "Both, I guess." He took her hand gently. "We've both lost so much, but forgiveness, forgiving ourselves and others, that's what will heal us." Facing the past, they had invited Aravi's mother to meet, not to mend their broken past, but to face it with honesty. The conversation was raw and painful. "I'm sorry," her mother whispered, tears streaming. "I was scared. I made terrible choices." Aravi nodded, feeling the weight of years lift just a little. "We all have our battles. What matters is how we choose to move forward." A new family, Vihan and Aravi, decided to rebuild not just their lives, but the family Meher had dreamed of. They started a foundation in Meher's name to support victims of betrayal and injustice, turning pain into purpose. The unexpected letter one afternoon, Aravi received a letter from an unknown sender. Inside was a photograph. Meher, smiling, holding a newborn baby, and a note. "Truth is a journey, not a destination. Keep walking." The final twist. The letter revealed a secret no one had known. Meher had given birth before her accident. Her child was alive, hidden to protect from the same enemies who had tried to destroy them. A new quest begins. Aravi and Vihan vowed to find Meher's child, ready to face whatever new challenges awaited. The lesson learned. Aravi looked at the horizon. She realized the truth that had carried her through. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find who you really are, hope and healing. Their story wasn't just about betrayal or revenge anymore. It was about survival, love, and transformation. Aravi's voice. In a final letter she penned to Meher, Aravi wrote, "You taught me that courage is born from pain, and hope shines brightest in darkness. I promise to carry your legacy, not just for us, but for everyone who fights to be free." This it end. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts.